Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with college football week 1 to an FAU Michigan State in this one. This game is on Friday night. Let's go.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, we got Florida Atlantic. They're on the road here in East Landing. Michigan State laying 2 touchdowns at home. There are 13.5s out there, though, if you look. Total sitting at 45.5, 45 and a half, or 45 as at the time of recording this. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, 26.3 to 24.2 Michigan State. Again, these models are using last year's metrics, just a representation of how poor Michigan State was last year. It's not adjusted to the new rosters or anything, so we could probably disregard the model for now. So let's go ahead and get into this one, and we'll start with the we're looking at a new era here for Michigan State. Mel Tucker's tenure with the team definitely unsuccessful. They did have one really good season where they went 11-3, 22-22 record in total, but just 9-17 in his last 2 seasons. It was definitely time for a change here, and from the looks of it, they made the right hire. I mean, Jonathan Smith, very good job out there in Oregon State. Oregon State was 1-11 the year before he took that job, and in the last 3 seasons there at Oregon State, they were 25-14. So definitely turned that program around. He brought his OC with him, Brian Lindgren, and the DC comes from Minnesota, Joe Rossi. He was a member of PJ Fleck's staff. So look, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, be like, oh, great hire, but from the looks, this looks to be a good hire. This looks to be a solid coaching staff here at Michigan State. I expect the offensive style to change a little bit. They threw the ball a lot last year, 29th in pass frequency. Now, that might also be a result of them being down on the scoreboard a lot. But Jonathan Smith and his staff out at Oregon State, they like to run the football a little more. So I expect Michigan State to try to get the run game going, maybe try to recreate another Kenneth Walker. The problem with Michigan State is they're not returning a ton of production, especially on the offensive side. 72nd in returning production, 15 returning starters, just 5 on offense. The big one, though, the big new piece is the quarterback Childs, and I'm going to play the clip from our live show when we talked about Aiden Childs taking over the quarterback job at Michigan State. There's a bunch of new pieces. Yeah, they look like shiny new toys. Can they score? Go ahead, Andy. Tell us about your boy, Aiden Childs. Yeah, so Aiden's the second coming of Tom Brady.
Yeah, Aiden Childs is, if you don't know him now, you're going to know him by the end of next year for sure. This kid's going to be insane. He's following Smith from Oregon State. He was the #1 rated quarterback transfer. That beats out Dylan Gabriel and all those guys that also transferred this year. He was ranked #1, and there's a reason for that. He didn't get to play much because they had DJ Uiagalelei last year.
He's so good and so electric.
He was a true freshman last year, and in the very little time he played, he looked amazing. Everybody from their camps are saying he's amazing. I trust that. I mean, he was one of the top rated quarterbacks in the country coming out.
Put Aiden Childs on the screen so they can see this guy that Andy's claiming is going to be a superstar.
And something that I do like about him, he was in this system last year. I said he followed Smith from Oregon State. That helps a lot. This is a quarterback that already knew how to run this system coming in. He can help teach everybody else around the system too. And I think I think the offense is the strength of the team, because I know we're going to talk about the defense. They lost a lot there. This offense has a lot of really good playmakers.
So yeah, safe to say there's a lot of hype surrounding the kids. Certainly got the quarterback they wanted for the future. Running back, they're also set. Nate Carter, the RB1 from last year, he's back. 800 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. They got almost no production from the running back position last season, but the production they did get all came from him. They were not deep at all. So they got Nate Carter back at RB1. They also bring in Lynch Adams from UMass. 1,157 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, and 12 touchdowns at UMass last year. So Michigan State, 2 good backs in the backfield behind Aiden Childs. Now the offensive line for Michigan State, this is where I start to worry. This was not a good offensive line last year. I mean, 125th in offensive line yards. They did not create much space in the running game at all. Now, we have to keep in mind they play a Big Ten schedule, so they're playing against a lot of really big, really physical defensive lines. You can see here their run blocking grade, which incorporates strength of schedule. It's up at 77, so they took into consideration all the tough defensive fronts they've seen. But it doesn't matter because this year's Michigan State offensive line is completely different. It's gutted. I think they lost 4 starters, and it might even be a 5th because the 5th position rotated a little bit. They lost a ton of production here on the offensive line, and they're up against FAU, who didn't even have a bad run defense last year. 34th in the country in yards per carry, 49th in run defense success rate. Now, they did play a very easy schedule, but 3 of their top 4 linebackers are back. So this is a pretty solid run defense last year. I expect them to do a good job against the run this year as well. If you look at their returning production, on the offensive side of the ball, they are screwed, and we'll get to that in a second. But on the defensive side of the ball, 8 returning starters, really not bad at all. Here are their defensive game logs. Look at the rushing category right in the middle there. Look at all that green. 3.1 yards per carry, 3.4, 3.6, 4.1, 3.4. Not a lot of teams are running the football on FAU last year. Not to mention they're bringing back the same exact coaching staff, same defensive coordinator. You combine that with the fact that they're returning 8 returning starters. This run defense was pretty good last year, pretty solid. And they're up against Michigan State that's got a completely new coaching staff, a completely new offensive line. I don't think it's crazy to say FAU's able to keep Michigan State from killing them on the ground in this game, despite the talent discrepancy. Now, will Florida Atlantic struggle to defend the pass again this year? Probably, but I mean, we got a freshman quarterback, brand new coaching staff. I don't know how much faith I have in Aiden Childs to just rip it up in the first game of the season. So I don't think it's crazy that FAU does a decent job defensively here. Now, on the other side of the ball, this is where things go south for Florida Atlantic because I don't know where the offense is coming from. Last year, they threw the ball a lot, didn't really have much quarterback play. You can see their offensive metrics from last year. I mean, 111th in effective rush, 99th in effective pass, so I guess that's not too terrible. And I mean, you can make a case that they upgraded at quarterback. They brought in Cam Fancher from Marshall. I mean, he wasn't great at Marshall last year, but he wasn't absolutely terrible. It was certainly better than what they had last year. I think they had Daniel Richardson. Was it Daniel Richardson playing quarterback last year, Andy? Daniel Richardson was the quarterback at FAU? Yeah. So they had Daniel Richardson playing quarterback last year. To put it delicately, he struggled. So Cam Fancher coming in to play quarterback should be an upgrade. But other than that, I mean, who's there on this offense? Their top 2 running backs are gone. Their top 3 wide receivers are gone. 4 of their 5 offensive linemen are gone. And this was a bad offense last year. So yeah, they brought in Cam Fancher. Should be an upgrade at quarterback. What does he have to work with here? And now you might be thinking, yo, Kyle, they're playing Michigan State, though, and Michigan State's defense was ass last year. And you wouldn't be wrong in saying that, but they've got a ton of linebackers back. They've actually got a bunch of playmakers at linebacker. There's 3 starters gone on the defensive line, but they did bring in some pieces through the transfer portal. And like I keep mentioning, it's Michigan State versus FAU. There's a big talent discrepancy here. So that FAU offense just completely gutted. I almost don't care what condition Michigan State's defense is in. I don't think FAU is going to score points here. So as far as betting this game, this is where it gets challenging because someone asked me about this game in the Discord and I said I'd like FAU's team total under at 16.5. I was hoping to get a 17. The next day, it was 13.5, and it's actually 12.5 on some sports books. Now, I'm not saying it moved because I said that, but it's crazy. This dropped like a rock, the total in this game. So on paper, I kind of like the under based on the fact that I think both offenses are going to struggle, but I'm not going to bet the under. One, the total just dropped, so we lost value there, but also, I think there's a really high risk for turnovers in this game. Cam Fancher is going to try to be a hero with not much help on the offense on the road in East Lansing. I think he's going to turn the ball over. On the other side, you got a freshman quarterback. So I think we're going to see some turnovers, and I think Michigan State's going to stumble their way into a cover here. So as far as a pick for this video, there's a 13.5 on FanDuel. Give me that. Michigan State minus 13.5. Haven't bet this one yet. I don't know. I'm still combing the board. I only have about 6 bets open for week 1 so far. This is not one of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up betting this. Michigan State minus 13.5. If you'd like to see all my current open bets and open bets from everyone on the staff here, head over to KyleKirms.com and sign up for Sauce Network Plus. They're listed right there on the website. Also comes with access to the Discord, and you could participate in the weekly betting league. $150 and a trophy go to the winner every single week. So head over to the website and sign up if you're interested. Live shows. 4 p.m. Eastern Time weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time weekends. So if you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. We'll go through every single game on the board. Let's have ourselves a great week 1. I'm up a few dollars from week 0. I bet 2 games. I went 1-1, but the Georgia Tech game I won was my top bet that week. So I'm up a few dollars. Hopefully we stay green again for week 1. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll see you in the Discord.